Now was the hour that wakens fond desire in men at sea and melts their thoughtful heart, who in the morn have bid sweet friends farewell, and pilgrim newly on his road with love thrills if he hear the vesper bell from far, that seems to mourn for the expiring day, when I, no longer taking heed to hear, began with wonder from those spirits to mark, one risen from its seat, which with its hand audience implored, both palms it joined and raised, fixing its steadfast gaze towards the east, as telling God, I care for naught beside. Tilu Sasanti, so devoutly then, came from its lip, and in so soft a strain, that all my sense in ravishment was lost, and the rest after, softly and devout, followed through all the hymn with upward gaze, directed to the bright soprano wheels. Hear, reader, for the truth makes thine eyes keen, for of so subtle texture is this veil, that thou with ease mayst pass it through unmarked. I saw that gentle band silently next, look up as if in expectation held, pale and in lowly guise, and from on high I saw forth issuing descend beneath, two angels with two flame-illumined swords, broken and mutilated at their points, green as the tender leaves but newly born. Their vesture was, the which by wings as green. Beaten they drew behind them, fanned in air. A little over us one took his stand, the other lighted on the opposing hill, so that the troop were in the midst contained. Well I descried the whiteness on their heads, but in their visages the dazzled eye was lost, as faculty that by too much is overpowered. From Mary's bosom both, "Or come," exclaimed Sordello, as a guard, over the veil 'gainst him who hither tends. The serpent, whence, not knowing by which path, he came, I turned me round and closely pressed, all frozen to my leader's trusted side. Sordello paused not to the valley now, for it is time let us descend and hold converse with those great shadows, hap you much, their sight may please ye, only 3 steps down, methinks I measured ere I was beneath, and noted one who looked as with desire to know me. Time was now that air arrow dim, yet not so dim that twixt his eyes and mine it cleared not up what was concealed before. Mutually towards each other we advanced. Nino, thou courteous judge, what joy I felt when I perceived thou wert not with the bad. No salutation kind on either part was left unsaid. He then inquired, how long since thou arrivedst at the mountain's foot, over the distant waves? Oh, answered I, through the sad seats of woe this morn I came, and still in my first life, thus journeying on, the others strive to gain. Soon as they heard my words, he and Sordello backward drew, as suddenly amazed, to Virgil one, the other to a spirit turned, who near was seated, crying, Conrad, up with speed, come, see what of his grace high God hath willed. Then turning round to me, by that rare mark of honour which thou owest to him who hides so deeply his first cause, it hath no ford, when thou shalt be beyond the vast of waves, tell my Giovanna that to me she call, there where reply to innocence is made. Her mother, I believe, loves me no more, since she has changed the white and wimpled folds, which she is doomed once more with grief to wish. By her it easily may be perceived, how long in women lasts the flame of love, if sight and touch do not relume it oft. For her so fair a burial will not make the viper which calls Milan to the field, as had been made by shrill Galera's bird. He spoke, and in his visage took the stamp of that bright seal which with due temperature glows in the bosom by insatiate eyes. Meanwhile to Heaven had travelled even there, where the bright stars are slowest as a wheel, nearest the axle, when my guide inquired, what there aloft, my son, has caught thy gaze? I answered, the 3 torches with which here, the pole is all on fire. He then to me, the 4 resplendent stars thou saw'st this morn, are there beneath, and these risen in their stead. While yet he spoke, Sordello to himself drew him and cried, lo, there our enemy, and with his hand pointed that way to look. Along the side, where barrier none arose, around the little vale a serpent lay, such haply as gave Eve the bitter food. Between the grass and flowers, the evil snake came on, reverting oft his lifted head, and as a beast that smooths its polished coat, licking his hack, I saw not, nor can tell, how those celestial falcons from their seat moved, but in motion each one well disgrayed. Hearing the air cut by their verdant plumes, the serpent fled, and to their stations back. The angels up returned with equal fright, the spirit who to Nino, when he called, had come from viewing me with fixed ken. Through all that conflict, loosen not his sight. So may the lamp which leads thee up on high find in thy destined lot of wax so much as may suffice thee to the enamel's height. It thus began, if any certain news of Valdemabra and the neighbour pot, thou mayst tell me who once was mighty there. They called me Conrad Manaspinner, not that old one, but from him I sprang, the love. I bore my people is now here refined. In your dominions, I answered, near was I. But through all Europe where do those men dwell, to whom their glory is not manifest? The fame that honours your illustrious house proclaims the nobles and proclaims the land, so that he knows it who was never there. I swear to you, so may my upward route prosper. Your honoured nation not impairs the value of her coffer and her sword. Nature and use give her such privilege, that while the world is twisted from his course, by a bad head she only walks aright, and has the evil way in scorn. He then, now pass thee on, 7 times the tired sun, revisits not the couch which with 4 feet the fort Ares covers, ere that kind. Opinion shall be nailed into thy brain, with stronger nails than others speech can drive, if the sure course of judgment be not stayed.